At minus 71 degrees Celsius, a single mistake can become a fight for survival. But that morning, something else was fighting to stay alive. It was not a fox. It was not a dog. It was a wolf pup. And somehow, it was completely alone. He tried to leave it behind. But after the first few steps, the little wolf made a decision of its own. For a while, he waited for the pack to appear, but the Arctic remained silent. No mother came, no tracks followed. In a place where every movement can mean danger, trust does not begin with a touch. Sometimes, it begins with simply waiting.
It's just a little bit further now. Hang in there, little buddy.
Then the weather changed. The cabin began disappearing behind a wall of snow, and suddenly, both of them were running out of time. The cabin was gone. But then the smallest member of the journey turned towards something the survivor could not see. The pup had not found the cabin. It had found something else. A small pocket of shelter hidden beneath the Arctic snow.
Then, through the storm, came a sound that changed everything. Somewhere beyond the whiteout, another wolf was calling.
These tracks belonged to something much larger than the pup, and they had been made recently. The pup did not seem lost anymore. It seemed to know exactly where it wanted to go. The tracks led them to a frozen river. But across the ice, something else was waiting in the distance.
Then the ice made a sound. Not loud enough to explain, but loud enough to make him take one step back.
The ice was not worth the risk, so they took the longer way around. And somehow, the tracks were still waiting for them. Beyond the river, the trail led toward a valley, and there, hidden beneath the snow, was the first sign that this journey might have a destination. Inside the shelter, the tracks continued, and caught on the rock was something that made the survivor stop breathing for a moment.
Then came another sound. Not from the sky, not from the storm. This time, it came from somewhere beneath the snow.
The trail had not ended at the shelter. It had gone underground. And somewhere in the darkness, the answer to the pup's disappearance was waiting. Every step took them deeper beneath the snow. And then, in the middle of minus 71 degrees, the survivor felt something impossible: warm air. Beneath the frozen wilderness was a hidden chamber, and the tracks were leading toward its darkest corner. And then, finally, he saw the one animal they had been following. The wolf was there, but it did not come closer. He had been wrong. The pup was not alone. Somewhere beyond the storm, its family had been searching for it. The survivor had spent hours protecting the pup, but now, for the first time, he understood that protecting it might mean letting it go. For days, the Arctic had answered every question with silence. Now, one call finally received an answer. Now there was only one question left. Would the little wolf choose the man who saved it, or the family it had been searching for? He had found the pup in the middle of nowhere. But sometimes, finding someone does not mean keeping them. After hours of cold, silence, and uncertainty, the journey finally reached the moment the survivor had hoped for. He had entered the storm believing he had found a lost wolf, but by the time he left, he understood the truth. The pup had never truly been alone. The storm had given him a few minutes slits of calm, but the Arctic had not finished with him yet. Then the storm erased the landmarks. Even the compass could no longer give him a clear answer. Just when the storm erased every direction, the tracks appeared again. And strangely, they were leading the same way he needed to go. He had no guarantee the tracks would lead anywhere. But in a world with no visible landmarks, they were the only direction he had left.
The tracks stopped at the slope, but the survivor understood why. The snow ahead was no longer stable.
Then the wind stopped, and behind him, something moved through the whiteout. The wolf had followed him out of the shelter. Or perhaps it had been watching the route all along. The wolf was moving away from the storm, and the tracks pointed in the same direction, so the survivor followed. Inside the valley, the wind disappeared, but the silence was almost more unsettling than the storm. After hours of whiteout, the darkness finally began to break. But what waited beyond the valley would change the journey one more time. Beyond the valley, the Arctic opened again. But the tracks that had guided him were already disappearing.
The storm had taken more than his direction. It had taken time. And now, even his water was running low.
Something moved across the horizon. But at this distance, the Arctic could turn anything into a mystery. Then he found another trail. Smaller tracks, fresh tracks, and once again, they were pointing toward the same unknown destination. By following the smaller tracks, he found something he had been searching for all day: shelter. The tracks went inside, and the shelter was warmer than the frozen world outside. In the Arctic, the snow does not forget everything. Sometimes, it preserves the story of everyone who passed through. Another storm was closing in, and this time, the survivor knew better than to fight the Arctic when the Arctic was telling him to wait. Then, through the storm, he heard something outside. The same kind of sound that had started this entire journey. The answer came back through the storm. The wolf had not disappeared. It had simply been waiting. The wolf had come back. But it did not enter. It simply turned away, as if it expected him to understand. When the storm finally began to weaken, the wolf was gone. But its tracks were still there. He could stay and wait, or he could trust the direction that had carried him. Step by step, the trail continued. And then, beyond the slope, something appeared that he had almost stopped believing existed. He had found a structure. But in the Arctic, seeing help and reaching help are two very different things. For the first time in days, something answered. The structure was closer now, but the final distance felt longer than everything that came before. Before he reached safety, the wolf appeared one last time, and for a moment the survivor wondered if this had ever been a coincidence. He never learned why the wolf kept appearing, but he knew one thing. In the coldest place on Earth, he had not been completely alone. At -71 degrees, survival's the most unexpected companion. Would you have followed the tracks?